All right, I think we're on. Hey, what's up, friends? Mike Mutzel here with highintensityhealth.com. Guess what? I got the audio dialed in. I sure hope. As you know, this is a new setup. This is the second time I've streamed live here from this room. And yesterday, I really want to apologize, guys. I know a lot of you have tuned in to these live sessions, and sometimes we've had some audio glitches, and I think I found the right solution. So if this sounds good, hit that like button, just let me know. And I was hoping today to just kind of share a few things with you. It's Saturday evening. I don't expect too many of you to be on. We've been working out. We have friends in town. We're about to go to dinner in about an hour here. Make some real healthy, low-carb food. Deanna has some cocktail recipes, some low-carb cocktail recipes she's going to share later on the channel. We're going to experiment with them tonight. But anyway, let's talk about gluconeogenesis. And the purpose of talking about this on a Saturday is because I know a lot of you do meal prep on Sunday. A lot of you work out during the week and all that sort of stuff. And, I remember when I started going to keto-specific conferences. As you guys know, I've been doing this functional medicine thing for a long time. And in 2016, I started going to a lot of the keto conferences, and I kept hearing about gluconeogenesis in a bad connotation. And I was surprised to hear that because, what we know about the physiology is, gluconeogenesis can be bad in the insulin resistant state. But if you're fasted or if you're doing exercise or if you're keto for that matter, gluconeogenesis and ketosis are parallel pathways in those contexts that I mentioned, in the fasted state, in the low carb, high fat state, or in the exercise state, which mimics somewhat the fasted state metabolism. So I was just hoping to address that with you guys today so that you're not scared of it. And one of the things that's helped me with this, hopefully you can see, let me turn to this. Yeah, my continuous glucose monitor. So, of course, my glucose is rising because, counter-regulatory hormones, right? You're going live on YouTube. You want to make sure things are working out. Guess what's going to increase? Adrenaline, noradrenaline, and a little bit of cortisol. That's going to cause, this is a great example of like getting into this physiology. That's going to cause glucose to elevate. So if you like this science, if you like this content, just hit that like button. That, as you know, that lets me know that you're interested in these type of videos. So anyway, I've been wearing this glucose monitor again. For those of you all that have been listening to the channel for a while, you guys know that I had this last year. I want to give a shout out to my friend, Dr. John Lemansky, for sending some sensors to me. Hopefully I'm not getting him in trouble by saying that. We've done some work and some consultations together, and he knows that I do a lot of experimentation, that I've had the glucose sensor before, and so he helped me out with the sensors. I already had this Abbott Freestyle Libre reader, and he's helped me with that. So anyway, here's my numbers. As you can see here, Friday, yesterday, was a rest day. I only had 2 meals because I'm physically active. I have 2 meals a day. 2 meals a day? Why can't I talk today? 2 squares per day. But today was a pretty active day. Went for a walk, been lifting, gardening. We did a lot of our grocery shopping on Saturday because the market that we like to go to, that I'll show you in just a minute, has some wonderful, healthy, real food. It's not, I don't have a picture of it, sorry. But anyway, long story short, here's my continuous glucose monitor readings. And I think this is a great approach, guys. So here's how you can, let's pause the whole gluconeogenesis conversation for a minute, because getting a continuous glucose monitor will help you to better understand when gluconeogenesis is occurring in your body, or when or if you are insulin sensitive or insulin resistant. And I think this is important. So, I like to keep my glucose in a tight range, and that's very doable when you're fat adapted or keto adapted, and you've been doing this for a long time. This is very doable too for non-fat adapted athletes, where they can keep their glucose in a tight range as well. But if you're fat adapted and you're an athlete and you fast, it's really easy to keep your glucose well under 100. But if it goes above 100, need not worry, friends. These are parallel pathways. All right, I'm going to clear that layer so that you're not being distracted by that. So actually, you know what? Let me bring it back, because I do want to, I would like to point out something. So what you're going to see here on Saturday, July 7th at around 11:30, I started working out. And so today I did a little bit of chest. I did some calves, some hamstrings. What else? A little abs. It was kind of like a filler day, things that I didn't, what I do on Saturday is like a catch-up day. What I don't touch in the week in terms of my body parts that I lift, I address them on Saturday. And this week happened to be chest. And so I started increasing the intensity over time, going into the workout per my Aura Ring, which by the way, friends, for those of you that don't have one yet, you can save $50 on this amazing sleep tracking and heart rate variability tool by using the promo code HIH at checkout. We just got a deal set up with them. It's an awesome tool. I live by this. But my Oura Ring was telling me this morning, because we have friends over in town, James Maskell. We have been very social lately. I didn't get the best sleep. And so I wasn't intending on doing a hard workout. But as you can see, Saturday morning at around 11:30, my glucose starts to rise. It starts to rise around 88, 89, 90. And then when I started really getting into the weights, so I was doing dumbbell chest presses, intervals, and then supersetting those with different things, then my glucose started to get over 120. And even to the highest after the sauna, by the way, the sensor's right here on my right tricep, okay? And so after the sauna, it was too hot to read, and then it got down to 138. So that was the highest it's been in a very long time. So I'm going to clear that layer. But then you see it dropped way down. And so we had some just water, electrolytes, and then to replenish the glycogen, because I really felt like I had a good workout. Lifted a lot of weights. I wanted to replenish that glycogen. I had some organic Rainier cherries. I had carbohydrates. But don't be all scared, because I'm going to show you my glucose and my ketone readings in just a minute, which was an hour after eating the cherries. I was right back into ketosis, right? But those are the spikes that you see. So why am I sharing this with you? Okay, so I had 0 carbohydrates in the morning. Okay, but yet you saw my glucose rise. Well, where is that coming from? Because I've depleted my liver glycogen, most likely. It's not like I'm storing hundreds of grams of glycogen in my liver. So the counter-regulatory hormones, the adrenaline, the cortisol, the norepinephrine, etc., and glucagon. Remember glucagon from Ben Bickman and other interviews. He's been really instrumental at helping us better understand how glucagon is not only necessary for helping our fat cells liberate free fatty acids and glycerol. We're going to talk about glycerol in just a minute. So your stored triglycerides in your adipocytes or your fat cells, when they're liberated through norepinephrine, through adrenaline, and glucagon, helps with that, and low insulin helps to liberate those free fatty acids from the stored triglycerides. That glycerol goes somewhere and it goes to glucose. I'm going to talk to you about that in a minute. So, when you start increasing the intensity, the counter-regulatory hormones of the body are going to do what? They're going to raise blood glucose, because the exercise is glycolytic demanding. There's an airplane going overhead. Sorry for the background noise. But so that's normal. We want to embrace it. I'm not doing a marathon event that is solely reliant upon fatty acid oxidation. I'm hitting weights, and in so doing, I'm doing them under a time constraint. It's a highly glycolytic event. It's demanding glucose. So the body's responding just as we want it to, right? We want to be utilizing glucose and burning through those sugar stores, and that's going to help cause the adaptation. And that's going to stimulate, guess what? Lactic acid and pyruvate. Those are all substrates to then remake glucose, which is totally a good thing in this context. Now, if I was sitting on the couch eating Domino's pizza, what I just mentioned, we would not say that's a good thing. Again, this is where context comes into all these different conversations that we hear about. It's not that ketones are always good and that glucose is always bad. It really depends on the application, the timing, the contents, the context, the duration, and the intensity of the exercise, guys. So next time you hear someone say, my glucose is rising. Well, are they stressed? Are they sleep deprived? Have they had carbohydrates? Are they insulin sensitive? And were they exercising? So those are things you need to consider, right? So it's not always bad. Let's talk about stress, because stress is, and actually, if you care to see, one of the things that I was doing, hopefully you can see that.
Nice, Mike.
So this is just something I was doing as a variation for chest.
I don't know if I'll be doing this anytime soon, but
background noise of that. Let me turn down the volume of that layer. All right, so you don't hear the volume anymore. But what you're seeing here, so one of the things I like to do to finish off exercises is incorporate some instability.
I don't know if I'll be doing this anytime soon, but
one of the ways that I do that is utilizing bands and things like that. So what you're seeing is this is just a classic incline press with 45s on each side, but they have rubber bands holding 45, so they create some instability. So that's really good.
I don't know if I'll be doing this anytime soon, but
stuff like that. So let me clear that layer so that's not bugging you anymore. And let's talk about stress. So this was last year when I was wearing my continuous glucose monitor. I shared this story with you guys many times. So April 2017, using the Abbott Freestyle Libre. So what you're seeing, my glucose actually went up to 188 something milligrams per DL. And again, because the airplane security was a nightmare. I love Canadians. My wife's Canadian. I have a lot of Canadian friends, family member. But their security system was really slow and really backed up. And so I was worried that I was going to miss my flight. So that psychological or perceived stress, that's running in the background of our brains, that, believe it or not, affects our serum glucose and glucose dynamics and stuff like that. So now, shortly after I went on this, shortly after, I'm sitting on the plane now with my, my passport and the ticket and the glucose monitor. I'm testing every few minutes. My glucose dropped down over 100 fairly quickly. But keep in mind, this is how powerful these counter-regulatory hormones. Keep in mind that what I want to say here is I was fasted. That's what I want to say. I lost my train of thought for a second. I'm sorry. I was fasted during this time. That's what really, really surprised me, is that the count normally when I'm fasted and I exercise, there seems to be like a dampering on how high my glucose can get. But during this particular situation, although I was fasted, it was a very stressful event, as I mentioned, because I thought I was going to miss my flight, and I was giving a talk in Winnipeg, and I had to make it. There was no other flight, and so it was like all these things were running through my head. My heart was pumping like crazy, and I was really surprised that even though I was fasted, that the counter-regulatory hormones, again, those stress hormones, the cortisol, the adrenaline, the noradrenaline, increased so much, causing liberation, causing gluconeogenesis, from a myriad of different ways, probably catabolism of muscle, which is not favorable. But that was really profound. And so, again, this speaks to something that I've been talking about on this channel for a long time. Look, the keto diet is very popular, but it's just a diet. It's just one component. It's one piece of the puzzle. Your metabolism, if you think about your life or your metabolism or your health, look at envision right now, close your eyes and envision a stove, and there's 6 gas burners, okay? The diet is just one of 6 or 7 or 8 gas burners. There's sleep, there's movement, there's your thoughts, there's all the things that you do for your meaning and purpose, your social connections, your environmental toxin exposure. There's a million things. The diet is one of 7 burners that's going on that comprises your whole metabolism, guys. So just keep that in mind. That's why my YouTube channel is not called the keto diet or something like that, because there's multiple elements of this. I love the keto diet. I love ketosis. I love ketones and what they do in the body. But it's just one of many facets that comprise health and vitality and well-being. So anyway, I think that's important. And kind of the last thing that I wanted to share with you is it this slide? No, where is it? All right, I'm gonna swear I'm here with you paying attention, but I need to add in this slide, and I think I can rotate it. Can I rotate the shot? Yeah, the shot's going to be a little sideways for you guys, but just bear with me. So what you're seeing here is my serum glucose, and you're seeing ketones. So this was after, in the post-workout window, eating cherries. This was an hour and a half after eating the cherries. So yeah, my glucose was coming down, but my ketones were still 0.3, and I just tested them, they're 0.6. So that's another thing that, again, one of these myths that we often hear about is, we hear about that, like, oh, you shouldn't have carbohydrates if you work out intensely. Like, that's out the window. If you're a keto athlete, you're a keto athlete. And I would beg to differ with that. And this is just my personal opinion. Having been lifting weights since 1997, at least 5 days a week, of course, I've had deload weeks and stuff like that. I found that post-workout carbohydrates are really, really important. When I don't have them, I'm flat, I'm weak, I'm lethargic. But I'm also kind of like a hard gainer, right? So if you put on muscle really easily, maybe you don't need those carbohydrates. So it really depends on your physiology, but that's just my perspective. So, but that being said, having carbohydrates in the post-workout window, it doesn't necessarily kick you out of ketosis like some people say. So now, of course, the carbohydrates that I had were seasonally available, locally grown. Unfortunately, we only have one cherry tree, and I planted it this time last year, and it's not yet producing cherries. So we don't have those in the backyard, but we have raspberries and blueberries and all kinds of gooseberries and Cornelia cherries. We have other stuff, just not the Rainier cherries that I happen to have today. So, summary key take home from this talk. Hopefully, I wish I would have said this in the introduction, but unfortunately I didn't. And Tommy Wood talked about this on the podcast about, was it last August? to reinforce this, if you're in ketosis, gluconeogenesis is occurring at the same time. You can't be scared of it, right? It happens. You can't fight it. You don't want to fight it, right? There's obligate glucose, requiring neurons in the brain, parts of the kidney that absolutely, and your erythrocytes absolutely need glucose. Okay. So if gluconeogenesis didn't occur when you were fasting or when you were keto, eating a keto diet, you'd have problems in your brain, your eyes, and throughout your body because your red blood cells would have a challenge, right? So keep that in mind, right? It's not a bad thing. And that's why blood sugar never totally drops, say below 75 or 65, even if you are keto. It's always hovering in that range to provide these obligate cells that really absolutely need glucose to survive and thrive. So, and when one of the ways that glucose is made is actually through fat breakdown, okay, from the glycerol made from the snipping of triglycerides into free fatty acids that can be made into ketones or burned directly within the muscle to be utilized as fuel. And then that glycerol backbone making up the triacylglycerol that we know to be called triglycerides, that glycerol backbone can get fed in and guess what? Make glucose, right? Which can fuel your muscles. So hopefully that helps, guys. Like I said, I got a dinner party in a little while here. I do have some time for a few questions if you guys are here. I actually haven't even checked to see if we're live and stuff like that. But it says the stream is good, and oh my goodness, we do have quite a few questions. So guys, as always, I'm grateful that you're here. I hope that I've dialed in the sound. And if so, expect a lot more live videos just like this and hopefully a little bit better. I'll get better over time. But what do we got? What questions do we got? Let me go back here. Oh, and one last thing, guys, I forgot to mention. We're running a promotion right now because we're doing some remodeling on our house. We found asbestos on our floor, and I have to hire some specialists to help tear that up and bring it to a special place. So all of our courses at courses.highintensityhealth.com are 50% off right now. We have great courses, everything from learning how to garden, learning how to make low-carb, microbiome-friendly foods, breads, wraps, cookies, treats, the Keto MasterClass, which has tons of videos, similar format to this, along with a shopping guide. We have a new autoimmune intensive course with Amy Myers and much more. So the links are below this. Go to courses.highintensityhealth.com, enter in summer health, literally save 50% on all courses. You guys know from the videos that I do, the interviews, it's top-notch, good content that you probably won't find anywhere else on the web. We don't dumb stuff down. We keep it high level, and we provide the action soundbite. So if you're interested in that, take advantage of that because that's a great deal. So someone says, I try to follow the Mediterranean diet. Cool. Maya says, you mentioned serum glucose, stress, etc. Share your thoughts on the fatty acid conjugated linoleic acid and its effect on blood sugars. Yeah, so CLA, it does affect glucose and sugars and fatty acid oxidation through a bunch of different mechanisms. To be honest, I haven't researched that in a long time, but it's not something that I would suggest buying as a supplement, not because I don't think it's important, but because you can get it from your diet, right? I'm always, put diet first. A lot of people complain that are like, I'm a food snob and all this. And so it's don't buy supplements, buy real food first, cover the bases, then buy a few essential supplements. Things that can help are like IFOS certified essential fatty acids. We do provide those over in our product line, myoscience.com. Probiotics, I consider an essential supplement. Vitamin D, other things, for example, for women, I love selenium and iodine because it seems that women are really uniquely susceptible to hypothyroidism and thyroid conditions. So those are some things that I highly recommend. Obviously there's other nutrients that can help you burn fat better. Carnitine, berberine, essential fatty acids, as I mentioned, omega-3s. You want to make sure they're from IFOS certified fish oil. Those are very helpful. But CLA, your gut bacteria can make it. You can get it from your diet. It's not something that I would recommend just running out and buying because there's a million other things you want to prioritize before that. But that's a really good question, Maya. I'm glad that. Xavier says, what do we, so LF is helping to moderate. Yes, I love that. So someone says, you won't get cherry trees on your tree if your neighbor doesn't have any other cross-pollination. Yeah, actually, so this is what's it called? I don't know the term, where they graft on different types. So it's self fertilizing or pollinating or whatever. I'm not a tree expert, but yeah, so that is how we do that and surmount that. So it's kind of a unique way. So basically they take the rootstock and they put different branches when the tree is very little, and it becomes part of the tree. It's crazy. So it's self-fertilizing. What else do we got? LF says, sounds great. Finally, gosh, it's only taken me, I've had this YouTube channel for 4 years, and I finally got a format that works. And I just want to say I'm grateful for you guys for putting up with this. Seriously. There's been so many not so good live videos that we've done. I'm really embarrassed, and I feel like I wasted your time sometimes. And so that's why I'm going to crank out content to help make it up to you. Because really, some of the live videos that we did for real, I went back and listened to them, and the audio was messed up. And the one I did on Friday, like the camera audio was coming in with this audio, and it sounded really bad. So I feel bad because I know your time. I respect your time, right? Like, you're busy just like me. And so if you're tuning into my stuff, I want to make sure that it's legit, quality and content wise. So anyway, I'm going to make it up for you. I promise. Hang in there. Stay subscribed. Tune in when we're doing these, because from here on, they're going to be legit. I promise. Promise to you. What else we got? Catherine, thanks for telling me that the sound is good. Would you ever try the carnivore diet? Yeah. So Justin, that's a really good question. So in 2002, it wasn't called the carnivore diet. But a buddy of mine, Greg, who also got me into low carb, high fat, actually my stepmom kind of got me into Atkins a little bit before that, but long story short, my buddy Greg really got me eating a ton of meat. And so there was times in the day where I would literally have only meat, and this was red meat. He got me off chicken, got me off egg whites and all that. I shared the story on the Stand Everything's podcast, if you listen to that in iTunes. So yeah, I've done that. It can be great, guys. But it's not like it's a breakthrough unless you've had a lot of gastrointestinal issues or you've been eating crappy protein for a while. But if it's not something I'm going to do forever, or would suggest anyone do forever. First of all, it's healthy in the sense because you're not inadvertently fermenting a lot of fibrous type compounds that can cause gastrointestinal dysfunction and stuff like that, like people that have had antibiotics and C-sections and all that sort of stuff. But eating just meat and that's it for only long term, I just don't think that's a good dietary strategy. I don't think you're going to get hurt by it. Obviously, people have been doing this but I just don't think. I try to live as though I was living off the land. What can I grow and eat on my, third of an acre property and stuff like that? And even if I had cows and goats, we wouldn't be eating their meat every single day, even if it was frozen. We would have variety. And so that's what humans should strive for. And if we look at ancestral humans or unindustrialized people, the folks in Tanzania, talking about, that interview with Jeff Leach that I mentioned before on the podcast, they eat berries, they eat tubers, they eat root vegetables, and they eat meat, right? And they eat organs as well. And so that's the thing I was about to say. If you're wanting to do the carnivorous diet as an experiment, just to see if it'll work for you, don't forget the organs, guys. Only eating muscle meat, I think, is just like, it's a little bit short-sighted. And I've gotten some heat for, saying this and critiquing this because a lot of people love this. And a lot of people are accusing me of like being a vegan and doing these, things, but that's not it. It's just like, if you were only eating blueberries, I think that would be dumb. And I love blueberries. If you're only having whey protein powder, I think that would be dumb. If you're only having liver, I think that would be dumb. So variety is good, right? Meat is great. It has a lot of essential nutrients that we need: vitamin B12, creatine, carnitine. I love meat and we eat a lot of it, but we also have organ meats. We also have egg yolks, vegetables, from our garden, right? Or from farmers, fruit when it's available. Like, I think variety is key. And, your microbiome changes with the seasons so that you can absorb the compounds from these different nutrients that are, guess what, seasonally available in your area. So again, eat local, eat what's available. And there's times, guys, where I don't eat red meat for several days at a time. Actually, mostly in August, because a lot of times, some of the meat is being shipped in from other countries during that time of the year, because at least in North America, a lot of the cows are like, they're fattening them up. The butchers are fattening them. The farmers are fattening them up, and there's not a lot available. At least I've been told from farmers that I talk to. So that's just me. That's my perspective. If you disagree with that, I appreciate that. Like, actually, I would say challenge everything that I say. Also challenge everything that other people say. You should come up with your own conclusions. Don't blindly follow anyone. Don't blindly follow me. Don't blindly follow other people. You need to come up and see what works for you. So just because I'm not doing the carnivorous diet year round, I have done mostly meat, and some nut butter. Back in 2002, I got shredded. I mean, shredded. You could see my obliques, my serratius, totally. But now I enjoy rosemary. I enjoy onions. I enjoy curcumin. I enjoy blueberries. So why would I want to restrict those things? Plus, they're being grown right for free in my backyard. So I'm not going to just let them rot. I've invested time and money into this. So again, that's my bias too, is because I do grow these things. I want to eat them and I like the taste. So that's just me. But, if you've had health issues, digestive issues, acne, like Amber O'Hearn, if you've had depression, definitely give it a try, the carnivorous diet, and then start to incorporate more of these whole foods and see how you feel. So that's just my perspective. Take it or leave it. Sorry if that disappoints you, but that's just, where I come from. Xavier says he eats a lot of, raw liver. That is impressive. Xavier, raw liver. I have not yet done that before. I eat a lot of raw egg yolks, not liver. I'm impressed. Keep it up, buddy. Shelly says your channel is the best. Thanks, Shelly. I really appreciate that. What else we got? Yeah, someone says no echo. Cool, cool. All right, guys. Well, look, I'm gonna go back and look at your comments. I'm super grateful that you're all here. If you guys are here right now, hit that like button. That really helps us. That helps Google. That helps people that are like you that want to learn this content. And that helps me just know if you're digging this stuff. But expect a lot more live videos using this format. Good audio. Got some live interviews coming this week. I'm working as soon as we end this video. I'm going to post a video or work on posting it. It's probably not going to hit until the morning with Dan Harris, the author of 10% Happier and Meditation for the Fidgety Skeptic. He's a great teacher, got a great radio voice, a great message all about meditation and helping to improve your brain health, but also how meditation can help you overcome food cravings and, alcohol cravings, things like that. So I think it's very pertinent wherever you sit on the spectrum. And last but not least, let's see where my glucose is at. It's still a little bit high, so maybe those cherries are throwing me off, guys. I don't know. But I had a good workout, wanted to recover, spiked my blood sugar. We'll see where my ketones are at. I'll keep you posted on that. But become friends with your doctor and encourage them to write you a script for the Abbott Freestyle Libre or the Abbott Freestyle Libre Pro. Those can be very helpful at just figuring out what works for you. Is a carnivorous diet going to help you? Is it keto? Is it modified paleo? Is it, MCT oil supplemented keto? Whatever. That's a great tool. So hope you have an awesome rest of your day, or if you're watching the replay, have a great day, and we'll catch you on another live video. Again, really appreciate you tuning in and putting up for a lot of bad YouTube lives. I promise they're a thing of the past. We got good stuff coming forward in terms of production value. All right, guys, we'll catch you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.